Hello, welcome to UVA IRB-SBS 7557, Programming in Human and Human AI Teams. Today is session 1, and the overview is we're going to start with a consent process, and assuming both participants want to continue, then we'll fit you with sensors including heart rate sensors and galvanic skin response sensors. You'll take a registration questionnaire, we'll do some training, and then you'll do coding and more questionnaires. So you'll take an emotion questionnaire, code with your first teammate, do a post-programming questionnaire, and repeat with your second teammate. Finally, you'll do an exit questionnaire and be done for this session. Your goal for the programming is to balance productivity and understanding of the code. So your final score is going to be determined by your score today. So how many tasks out of 4 you get for each of the 2 trials, and also from the retention test score that you'll take in a week. And so the way that these are weighted is hidden from you intentionally so that you don't try to implement a certain strategy. So you want to pass as many tasks as you can while also taking enough time to understand the code that you're writing. So don't apply a strategy that focuses more on productivity or more on understanding. We want you to balance both of the two. So you want to pass the task, but you also want to understand the code that helped you to pass that task. As an incentive, the final scores, which again are weighted in a secret way between the score today and the retention test score, the top 15% of final scores will get a $10 bonus compensation. So that should incentivize you to balance these two so that no matter how the 2 scores are weighted, you're in that top 15% and you can get that $10 bonus on top of your base compensation. So how is your session 1 score calculated? The picture on the right is an example of the testing interface that you'll see and train on in a bit. But essentially it shows tests that are passing and failing for particular tasks. So there are 4 tasks per condition. You see 3 tasks over here on the right, Q, R, and S. And you're going to have to pass all tests for a given task. So for example, for task Q54, test 54F is failing, and so that would be no credit for test Q54 because not everything is passing. So there's no partial credit, meaning that a 1 out of 5, for example, is the same as a 4 out of 5 because it's not a 5 out of 5. Be sure to run the test to record your pass. So there will be 2 ways to run your tests, but you have to actually click run or use PyTest to run the test in order to record that that pass has happened so that we know when you first passed that task. More tests does not equal more points. So if one task has 3 tests and another has 7 tests, you have to get all of them right either way. So it doesn't help you whether or not there are more or fewer tests. Possible scores for each of the conditions, so when you're working with a teammate or you're working with Copilot, you can get a 0, a 25, a 50, 75, or 100%, corresponding to getting 0 or up to 4 tasks correct. In terms of your time management, you have 20 minutes for each of your sessions working on 4 tasks at a time. You can do those tasks in any order and you'll have access to all of them at the same time. So you should consider checking all the tasks before you start one. You can follow the alphabetical order that is given to you for the tasks, but that may or may not help. You may find that a later task is easier, although the earlier ones are expected to be a little bit easier. Ignore the task numbers. A task with a higher number is not necessarily any harder than a task with a lower number. If you get stuck, consider looking at other tasks. Remember that partial progress does not earn points, so you don't want to make a little bit of progress on all the tasks. You want to fully complete as many as possible while also balancing understanding. Now I'm going to go over some of the rules. The first one is good faith, and this just means to take the study seriously. The results may inform academic policies about whether or not future generations of CS students can use AI or not, and so it's very important that these results are valid, and for that to happen you have to take the study seriously and try your best. So try your hardest on the tasks, but not only that, try your hardest to understand the code you produce, since we're asking you to balance both performance and understanding or learning. In terms of the internet, you are allowed to use the internet, but there are limits. You can't use any AI on the internet, including Copilot, through the web browser. That also includes search overviews. So this will be disabled for you in Chrome, but you should not try to get around this restriction. You should not be using any Google AI overviews for Google searches. Please only use Google Chrome and Google Search to do your web browsing, and don't view anything related to human eval, which is the data set that you're working on, because those could be direct solutions to the problem, which would be cheating. Also, don't use the incognito mode in Chrome, and don't delete your browsing history. What are some examples of things that are allowed? You can visit Stack Overflow or Reddit and other websites. You can mimic examples from the internet, and you can even copy code from the internet, as long as it's not directly a solution from human eval, which you would probably have to deliberately seek out or find with that particular label associated with it. In terms of communication, you're allowed to ask the experimenter, so me, about anything except task-related content. So I can't answer Python questions or questions about how to implement the tasks. Otherwise, I can answer any logistical questions about how to use VS Code or proceed with the study logistics. When you're working with a partner, try not to ignore your partner and try to be respectful to them. Also be mindful that you're going to have a shared keyboard and mouse inputs. So when you enter something on your keyboard, that's going to input into the shared computer that you're using. So you'll need to be respectful of only having one of you use the keyboard or mouse at a given time. You also can share work however you both want, so just communicate on that front. When you're working with AI, be sure you don't communicate at all with your human partner. If you need to speak to the experimenter, please try to whisper or be discreet, because you don't want to distract the other participant who will be working nearby. Also, it should go without saying, you shouldn't cheat off your human partner while you're working with the AI. For computer use, you should not use any premium AI chat models, so the default will be set to GPT 4.1, which is what you should use for the study. Don't try to change the model or use a premium model. You should also not create or delete any files at all on the computer anywhere, including in VS Code. You should not modify any files except for the Python task files themselves, so that includes the tests or any log files or any other files on the computer. Do not tamper with the tests, so don't change the tests, and don't hack the tests. So don't try to handle each of the test case with if-else statements to try to go all green and score, because that will be detected later and you will not get a point for that. Also, don't download files from the internet, and don't make any other changes to the computer or its settings. When you're told that time is up, please take your hands off the keyboard and mouse and stop working. Finally, we have a couple rules for outside behavior beyond the study. Please don't talk to anyone about the nature of the study or the tasks, because we don't want any of the results to be influenced by knowledge people may have about the nature of the study. Please don't prepare or study for session 2, the retention test that you'll take in about a week. That means don't seek out, look up, or practice anything related to the Python tasks for this study. Exceptions: if you have to use Python for a class, go ahead and do so, but just try to avoid material related to the study tasks if possible. In terms of reporting, please just be honest about any potential conflicts, or if we ask you, did you study or have any conflicts during the past week when you come for your retention test, just be honest, because your compensation cannot be penalized and you can't be penalized in any other way for reporting. We just need to know so that we can have valid results for the study. So that's everything you should need to know, and we'll proceed with a little bit of training.